You maxed out your credit cards, you haven't paid them off yet, so what happens to your credit score? Drops 150 to 200 points, higher insurance premium. And here's why. But let me ask you, Mark, if you had a 400 credit score and you're getting hounded by collection companies like my brother was, your girlfriend is calling you a loser, your ex-wife is saying, I need more money for child support, your boss is pissed off because you're not showing up on time because you're not sleeping because of all the stress, do you think you'll be a higher risk driving a car? So what they figured out is people with lower credit scores are more likely to have a claim, and not because they're bad people. It's because the stats show the lower your credit score, the more likely you're going to have an insurance claim or an accident. I want to show you something that very few people know, and this I think will help a lot of the audience. We know what this is, right? You've probably seen this before. Can you see that? Can you read what
300 to 850, yes.
That is your FICO score, right?
Yeah.
Now I say FICO, there's lots of there's TransRisk, there's Vantage, there's IntelliScore, there's Paydex, but FICO is what 90% of the world use. It's the Rolls Royce, if you will, except for it's not really the Rolls Royce. It's like the Ford or the General Motors or whatever, whoever the biggest car manufacturer is in the world. So Mark, if you talk to someone and they had a 300 credit score, what would that mean to the bank?
You're at extremely high risk of defaulting on your payments.
Very much so. And if you had an 850 credit score?
You would be very little risk. In fact, maybe even a good investment.
Yeah. Potentially. Not always, but potentially.
Well,
there is no...
predicting the future since the 50s, so probably.
Probably. Yeah. But then you might have what people don't realize, and I hear this all the time. Well, my debt to income ratio is really high, and that's why my credit score. No, that's like saying because I'm tall and bald that I have a lower credit score. Right. It has nothing to do with your income. Your credit score doesn't have anything to do with what color you are, what sex you are, your sexual preferences, your nothing, fat, skinny, old, young, they don't care. It's empirical. I think that's the right way to say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a, you guys ever heard of twisted tongue? Tongue twisted? It's an actual thing where some people are born with a twisted tongue. There are certain words I just can't say. Like my tongue will not. I'm supposed to go in and get it cut, but I'm 53 years old. And
what? How cutting your tongue help?
They go and what happens is underneath your tongue, it grows out a little bit further. And so the end of the tongue doesn't move as well. And so they cut it. My sister had it done because she can barely talk.
But I mean, doesn't that change your taste or your sense of taste?
No, it makes it so you can say certain words. Is all it does. So
I wouldn't jack with it, Rhonda. You have a great voice, so I wouldn't jack with it.
You haven't stuttered or mispronounced a word in 40 minutes.
I've been working on that. I used to stutter a lot.
I did.
Oh my goodness.
When I first started my radio show in 2010, I remember when the guy's like, what specifically would you do? And I'm like, I can't say that word. I would say specifically. I worked on it for a year. Every day I'd say specifically. I even had a recording of it and I would listen to it at night so I could say specifically because I would always say specifically.
Yes.
So I say it's like saying Oregon or Nevada. Anyway.
Or
so what is
Well, Rhonda, you should just tell people you're a Texan. We just pronounce things strangely, and we don't care if it's the way other people do it or not. So we have zero concerns whatsoever with the way other people pronounce tinfoil. Like, we just don't have any concerns. Y'all are just all wrong. So
I think you're right. Everybody's just all wrong.
Just all wrong. So.
Here's what that means. 300 means there's a 30% likelihood you'll pay your bills on time over the next 2 years. 850 means there's an 85% chance you'll pay your bills on time. Now, why is it not a 100% chance? Well, Ben Franklin said it best. There's nothing certain in life except for death and taxes. And I would add to it. And you always pay more if you have bad credit.
Mm-hmm.
Explain,
because people don't understand when you say, if you have bad credit, you're paying more for the same things that other people with good credit have. The way you explain this, it's so important. Lay it down on this.
Yeah. So everything in your life costs more if you have poor credit. not bad credit. There's a difference between bad credit and poor credit. Bad credit, you got late payments and collections and judgments. Poor credit is you're an entrepreneur and you maxed out all your credit cards, or you're living paycheck to paycheck because of what has happened over the last 4 years. There's just a lot more spending than there is money coming in. And so you've been maxing out your credit cards to pay for essentials, which then drives down your credit score. So a poor credit score is really anything under 740. Why 740? Because if we go back to this, a 740 would represent a 74% chance or likelihood you pay your bills on time over the next 2 years.
Yeah, if you're going to loan $100,000 to your buddy and you know there's a 74% chance or a 26% chance he's not going to pay you back, are you going to do it?
Exactly. Versus a 30% chance he'll pay on time and a 70% chance he will not pay on time. Mm-hmm. So why things cost more is the easiest way to explain this is last week I think it was last week when I was in LA when I met you guys.
Yeah, it was. It's crazy. Yes, it was 10 days ago.
Yeah. I lost some days in between there, going to LA and then Hawaii and then Mexico the week before. I'm a little
stop drinking.
I know. Yeah. So when I was in LA, gas was like, when Sterling, we drove by a gas station, it was like $8.50 or $7.50 or some ridiculous amount of money.
I think it's probably $5.80, but even that is ridiculous.
Yeah, we drove through Beverly Hills, and it's the service station that pumps your gas for you. So he's right. Oh, yeah. I remember, I was like, sometimes I do pay them to pump my gas because I like that. So it's well worth the few $100 I give them.
So let's say it's
Chevron
$5.
The Chevron that's outside of Alvera Street and Union Station, where it's $10 a gallon.
Oh, never.
It's infamous. You just drive by and you're like, dude, there's 4 figures on the gas prices.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? And I'll get back to this. I was just in Hawaii for a week, and gas there is $4.50 a gallon.
What?
It's $2 a gallon cheaper than LA. And you would think it'd be a lot more expensive to ship it all the way to Hawaii. Maybe it's just taxes. Maybe it's the Governor Newsom is funneling that to the railroad that they're building, the high-speed rail.
Gruesome. Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's doing with that money. That's going to hope he's doing something with that money that's used.
Yeah, exactly. It's for the roads and the schools and the homeless. That's where the money's going. So let's say it's $5 a gallon. Let's say gas is $5 a gallon. If you go to the gas station, you pay with your debit card, which was financial suicide.
Preach.
I've had clients, Mark and Sterling, that have filed bankruptcy from using a debit card at a gas station. Literally led to their bankruptcy because it just snowballed out of control. So you pay with a debit card, which you should never do, but you pay with a debit card, it's $5 a gallon. If you pay with cash, it's $5 a gallon. If you pay with a check, it's $5 a gallon. But if you pay with an American Express Platinum, a Costco Visa, a Chase Freedom, instead of paying $5 a gallon, you might only be paying $4.50 a gallon. Because you can get as much as 10% cash back when you go to a gas station. So when I say everything costs more, would you rather pay $4.50 a gallon or $5 a gallon? Now, as long as you pay off your credit card every month responsibly, then always use your credit card. Same thing with groceries. Same thing with clothing. Same thing with everything in life. Your car insurance. How much you pay in car insurance is a direct result of your credit score. You just don't know they're pulling it. And here's a nasty thing that car insurance companies do. They pull credit twice a year, in January and in July. Now, why would they pull in January?
They want to see how good Santa was to you.
Yeah. The other way around, that you've got a massive debt because you've just bought a lot of retail stuff for friends and family.
Exactly. You maxed out your credit cards. You haven't paid them off yet. So what happens to your credit score? Drops 150 to 200 points, higher insurance premium. And here's why. insurance companies, which are some of the greatest bean counters on the planet, they know specifically what causes people to cause accidents. And they know with hundreds of millions of clients over the years, obviously not hundreds of millions, but throughout the years of having car insurance, they've got hundreds of millions of cases, that people with lower credit scores are more likely to have a claim.
Wow.
Way more likely. Now, is it because they're committing fraud? Sometimes. But let me ask you, Mark, if you had a 400 credit score and you're getting hounded by collection companies like my brother was, your girlfriend is calling you a loser, your ex-wife is saying, I need more money for child support, your boss is pissed off because you're not showing up on time because you're not sleeping because of all the stress, do you think you'll be a higher risk driving a car?
No question.
Than someone who's like just cruising through life?
Especially if that girlfriend's in the car with me telling me I'm a loser then.
Exactly. And then collection companies are calling you on the way into work. So what they figured out is people with lower credit scores are more likely to have a claim, and not because they're bad people. It's because the stats show the lower your credit score, the more likely you're going to have an insurance claim or an accident, because maybe you're distracted, maybe you fall asleep, or maybe you commit fraud. So your insurance, how much you pay for car insurance, homeowner insurance, and life insurance. In many cases, you can't even get life insurance if you have bad credit.
Wow.
And then you look at your cell phones and all the rest of the stuff.
Now, you mentioned that they also check in July, June?
Yeah.
Is that
what happened starting Memorial Day?
Well, everybody's bought their vacation somewhere.
And they haven't paid it off yet.
Right.
So July, the credit cards are maxed out. So they know that in January and July, that's the highest balance on credit cards. Credit cards are the number one impactor of credit scores. It's 80% of your credit score. Late payments, your collections and charge-offs and bankruptcies and judgments, repos, short sales, that's 20% of your score. 80% is credit cards and how you manage those credit cards. The bank doesn't, or FICO doesn't care if you got a mortgage or not. It's 25 points. They don't care if you, like I have a VA loan. I put $500 down. They don't care that when I bought the house, I had no equity. They don't care. They don't care if you got student loans. And when I say they don't care, it's a couple points here and there, but it's not 200 points or 300 points. You max out a $500 credit card, and that's the only credit card you have, you're losing 200 points. So managing credit cards is really important.